Does cancer have an Achilles heel? So the short answer is almost certainly not. The longer answer is obviously I don't know and nobody knows, but still almost certainly not. You often see reports in the media saying things like scientists believe they may have found cancer's Achilles heel, or lab study may have found Achilles heel, this kind of thing. It's all nonsense, really. I can say that with quite a lot of certainty. Cancer is very, 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 very robust. It's very, very robust because the human body has a lot of defenses against cancer, against kind of genetic issues. We have mechanisms to make sure that DNA is copied correctly. We have mechanisms to repair the DNA in cases when it couldn't be copied correctly. We have mechanisms to destroy DNA if it wasn't copied correctly and then wasn't fixed. And of course, our body has very, 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 very sophisticated mechanisms for destroying cells that are damaged or diseased in some way or are diseases. So, yeah, we have a lot of mechanisms to protect against the things that cause cancer and to protect against cancer itself. It's probably very likely that our immune system does kill many cancer cells in many people who never go on to develop cancer. In other cases, maybe there are people who develop cancer without knowing it. The immune system keeps it under control. Those people go on to live, hopefully, fun-filled, exciting lives, live to a ripe old age, die of something else, and there's no reason to like cut them up and find out what they died of. So, maybe many people are dying with cancers, but not dying of cancer. So yeah, this idea that cancer has some kind of amazing Achilles heel and we just have to find it, I do not buy into that. Obviously, I don't know. It would be lovely if cancer did have an Achilles heel. Two points that may be relevant. Well, yeah, the elephant in the room is, of course, the sugar feeding cancer kind of myth. That is complex, complicated. Most of the people that talk about it are a bit simple. They don't really know what they're talking about. There's a lot of emotional nonsense around that argument as well, with people kind of misconstruing or like deliberately misinterpreting what other people are saying. When a cancer researcher or an oncologist says sugar does not feed cancer, they do not mean cancer cells don't metabolize sugar, because they do. That's how they get their energy. What they mean is there doesn't seem to be any good evidence that two things. Like, there doesn't seem to be any good evidence that cancer somehow encourages sugar growth. That's just not how metabolism seems to work. And conversely, like the corollary to that is that cutting out sugar does not seem to, at least there doesn't seem to be any robust evidence that reducing sugar, cutting out sugar or whatever, makes a significant difference. Many, many, many good reasons why we should reduce or eliminate sugar in our diet. But expecting it to magically get rid of cancer, unfortunately, is wishful thinking. And I personally find it a bit upsetting because no one would say that if they'd seen people die of cancer, which I have. In final stages of cancer, in 30% of cancer cases, 30% of deaths by cancer are caused by cancer starvation, like cancer cachexia. Cancer will metabolize anything in the body. Very late stage, the cancer is eating the body. It's causing terrible wastage. I want to be a bit careful with my language because it's easy to use silly emotive language or anthropomorphic language, and I don't think that does help. It's easy to use misleading analogies, and I do try and avoid those because this stuff is important and I do want to explain it well. But yeah, cancer is kind of forced to take less efficient metabolic pathways, and there is some thinking, particularly among patients and among celebrity quack doctors, particularly in the US, that you can like do fasting and the cancer will disappear or this kind of thing. Now, I did actually spend quite a lot of time on an incredibly low carbohydrate diet, nothing to do with believing the cancer sugar thing, but because of surgery I had and needing to be really strict about avoiding fiber and this kind of thing, it did not magically cure my cancer, obviously. So that's kind of the big elephant in the room of Achilles heel of cancer. But there is another kind of, I guess you could say, weakness or weak point of cancer cells, and that's that they are poor at self-repair. And this is used all the time in cancer treatments. When you have radiotherapy, a lot of cells get irradiated. Hopefully, they're mainly cancer cells, depending on how targeted the radiotherapy is. But the healthy cells get radiation damage. But healthy cells are quite good at repairing. The same with heat damage. So I have hypothermia therapy, where I have regional hypothermia therapy, where a region is heated up. And the heating damages all the cells. I've seen kind of claims that looked a bit pseudoscientific to me about a heat gradient forming in the body that meant that the heat only damaged cancer cells. As far as I know, that's not correct. Cancer tissue is, of course, different to non-cancerous tissue. It's very, very hard for a start. So maybe there is a bit more heating in there, but certainly hypothermia therapy damages healthy cells. But because they're healthy, self-repair starts quite quickly. I believe from heat damage, it's starting within minutes of the heat being turned off, essentially, and sort of a day later, the healthy cells have repaired or been politely but firmly destroyed by the immune system, if they are too damaged by the heat. So that is one potential weak point of cancer. But yeah, I do not think there is any reason to believe cancer has some kind of Achilles heel. That's wishful thinking. That's in some cases it's bad science, junk science, pseudoscience. In a lot of cases it's just bad reporting. Maybe it's sometimes scientists kind of having to hype up their research or their small discoveries, because if not, nobody will give them any money to do their research. That's unfortunate, that's sad, but that does not mean cancer has an Achilles heel. So the good news is, of course, cancer is quite treatable, particularly using a combination of science-based treatments, and even in horrific cases like mine, when I'm suddenly diagnosed with terminal cancer, a few months to live, you know, the cliche bad news, science-based treatments can have a really, really remarkable impact for some people, and I'm working on making sure that it's for all cancer patients. As always, please comment. It helps more than you can imagine. If you comment about my video or about other videos that you'd like me to do, that improves the videos. But also just commenting feeds the evil social media algorithms, which means other cancer patients are more likely to come across the videos and hopefully benefit from them. So please do comment, please hit subscribe. If you're on YouTube, please hit the bell thing that's been introduced. Okay, thanks a lot.